I never imagined that the place where my marriage would collapse would be our quiet suburban neighborhood. We had chosen this street carefully, safe, family-friendly, and filled with couples like us. The kind of place where kids could ride their bikes without worry and everyone waved politely at each other in the evenings. My husband and I had been married for 8 years, built a routine, a life that looked solid from the outside. He worked long hours in his corporate job, determined to give us the stability he thought a good husband should provide. I managed the house, cared for our 2 kids, made sure the wheels kept turning smoothly. If you had asked me then, I would have said we were fine. Not exciting, not passionate like the first years, but steady. Love had shifted into something quieter, calmer, and I told myself that was enough. I told myself passion wasn't sustainable, that being chosen and supported was what really mattered. I thought I had come to terms with it, until the new neighbor moved in. It was early spring, the air still sharp with the last bite of winter, when the moving truck appeared next door. I remember standing at the window that morning, coffee in hand, watching as the man stepped out. He looked early 30s, a few years younger than me, fit in a way my husband no longer cared to be, with a confident ease that caught my attention before I even realized it had. He wasn't married. That was clear right away. No partner, no kids tumbling out of the car. Just him, alone. We introduced ourselves quickly, just like any good neighbors would. My husband shook his hand, joked that the neighborhood women would be circling like hawks now that a single guy had arrived. I laughed it off at the time, but a flicker of curiosity had already taken root inside me. That flicker became a flame the more I saw him. At first, it was nothing. Harmless. A smile exchanged when we passed each other on the sidewalk. A wave when I took the dog out. A casual, "How's it going?" over the fence. No one would think anything of it. But then one afternoon, he asked for help unpacking. I told myself it was neighborly, that anyone would do the same. My husband was at work, the kids were at school, and I had an empty afternoon. I went over. What should have been a simple favor stretched into hours. We ended up sitting on his couch with beers, laughing over ridiculous moving mishaps. He asked me questions my husband hadn't asked in years. What I liked to read, what music I loved, what dreams I had once had for my life. And he listened. Not with distracted nods or eyes glued to a screen, but with focus, with interest, with hunger. I hadn't realized how starved I was for that kind of attention until it was right in front of me. After that day, I found excuses to see him, to drop by, to linger in the driveway just a little longer when he happened to be outside. I told myself it was still innocent, but my heart raced in a way it hadn't in years whenever I saw him. The first time his hand brushed mine as he handed me a glass, I didn't move it away. The first time he complimented how I looked in a sundress, I smiled for longer than was appropriate. It built slowly, like a storm gathering on the horizon. And then it broke. The night it finally happened, I hadn't gone over intending for it to. That's the lie I told myself anyway. I carried a bottle of wine as an excuse, said I wanted to officially welcome him to the neighborhood. He opened the door, that easy grin on his face, and my knees felt weaker than they should have. We drank. We talked. The conversation slid from playful to personal, from safe to dangerous. He told me he couldn't stop thinking about me, that he found me beautiful. The way he looked at me, the intensity in his eyes burned straight through me. When he kissed me, I didn't resist. My body leaned into him like it had been waiting for that moment. My mind screamed that it was wrong, that I had a husband, children, a life built on vows and trust. But my body didn't care. In his arms, I felt alive, desired, wanted in a way I hadn't in so long that I had nearly forgotten what it felt like. The guilt was immediate, but it wasn't enough to stop me. That night, I crossed the line fully. I told myself it would be one time. A mistake. Something I could bury and never repeat. But the lie unraveled quickly. One time turned into two, into a secret routine of stolen hours, hurried embraces, and whispered confessions. Every day I returned home to my husband, smiled, cooked dinner, tucked in the kids and lied with every word, every gesture. The guilt gnawed at me, but so did the craving. It was like living two lives, the dependable wife and mother in one, the reckless lover in the other. I told myself I deserved it, that I had sacrificed so much of myself for everyone else. I justified it with his neglect, his distance, his exhaustion. I painted myself as a victim even as I betrayed him. But secrets have a way of coming out. It happened on a Saturday. My husband had gone out to run errands. I slipped next door, certain I had time. We thought we were careful, thought no one suspected. But he had forgotten his wallet, and he turned back earlier than expected. He saw my car still in the driveway. He saw me walk out of the neighbor's house, hair messy, face flushed, clothes wrinkled. He didn't need an explanation. The truth was written all over me. The look in his eyes will haunt me forever. Not anger, not at first. Just devastation. Betrayal. He didn't yell. He didn't demand details. He just stared at me like I was someone he didn't know anymore. When he finally spoke, his voice was hollow. We're done. The weeks that followed were a blur of destruction. He moved out, taking the kids most of the time. The house felt like a ghost of what it once was. My family turned cold. My friends distanced themselves, whispers spreading faster than I could keep up with. I was branded the woman who threw away her marriage for a fling with the neighbor. And the cruelest part? Even the neighbor began pulling away. Once he saw the chaos, the fallout, he lost interest. I wasn't his fantasy anymore. I was baggage, broken pieces he didn't want to carry. I was left alone. Alone in the same house where I had once built a family. Alone, staring out the window at the neighbor's home, filled with memories that twisted my stomach with regret. My husband, though, he rebuilt. He found peace. I saw him once, laughing with someone new, looking happier than I had seen him in years. And it crushed me, because I realized, with a clarity that burned like fire, that I had thrown away everything real for something fleeting. I had chosen temptation, and it left me with nothing. Nothing but regret. Nothing but the hollow echo of a choice I could never undo. And every time I hear the sound of his laughter in my memory, every time I see my children smile at him as though he never broke, I know that the only one who destroyed their world was me.